their supporters. I've watched from Nairobi the processes of campaigns, and sometimes when I get to the balcony of my apartment, I sometimes feel like Kenya is at war because of the number of helicopters that are moving in all directions, going to various places, for campaigns. So a lot of money is, utilized in these elections, and that is important in terms of the Kenyan elections, because we talk of the ethnic barons, we talk of the big five. We don't mean the animals, but we mean the five communities that control over 70% of the vote. And that's when you see in Kenya the coalitions about those five communities: the Kikuyus, the Luos, the Kambas, the Luyas, and the Kalenjin. And those coalitions involve political parties. The political parties themselves in Kenya are not institutions. I think our political parties are all unconstitutional if we ask them to basically tell us under Article 91 of the Constitution who their members are, where are the registers, do they have nominations, do they file returns. You won't get that. But they are very clever. They basically form coalitions. If you trace back, you see in 2013 there was a coalition called CORD. 2017 a coalition called NASA. And this time it was Mio, Kenya Kwanza. And these coalitions basically formed under another law. And so there hasn't been any challenge on the legality and constitutionality of, of these parties. I need to say that in Kenya we don't underestimate these ethnic barons. They have ethnic following. They have the money. They are great myth makers, and that is also important. And it's on that basis I wanted just to flag two factors in 2022 which are actually very, very interesting in terms of what I've said about politics of issues and politics of division, but also another factor that Ruto brought in, which is also important and which is going to affect our democracy and our politics going forward. First of all, there was this revolt in Mount Kenya. And in Mount Kenya, when you talk about Mount Kenya, you're talking about counties, one called Laikipia, Nyeri, Kirinyaga, Meru, and Murang'a. So this is where this revolt, against Uhuru Kenyatta, who is obviously the Kikuyu ethnic baron. They call him Muthamaki, which is the combination of king and also spiritual leader. But there was this revolt, and it was on the basis of issues. The Ruto group said very clearly that the Kenyatta family businesses had exploited the peasants and the workers in this particular Mount Kenya region in areas of coffee, tea, and milk. And they were making exorbitant profits out of this exploitation. And people there were then mobilized on these particular issues. And you can see then that even the ethnic message is a double-edged sword, where people expect that because you're part of that community, you will not harm them. And so when you harm them, they basically revolt against you. And this is very important for the Kenyan politics, in my view, that going forward, the politics of issues is taking root, which is important. The other aspect was the Ruto coming with this narrative of dynasty hustler, which is a populist narrative, but which has very, very, very serious repercussions in terms of class politics, because they basically are saying that in Kenya, you have dynasties, and you also have hustlers, meaning the rich and the poor. Okay, wavuja jasho na wavuna jasho, and so although Ruto focused on the Raila and the Kenyatta dynasties, but he could have gone on and talk about according to the Oxfam report, Kenya has 8,300 multimillionaires and billionaires, and some of them billionaires and multimillionaires in US dollars, 8,300. And that report says that their assets, and that's land, banking, insurance, whatever, equals the assets of the rest of us, who are 55 million now, if the census was correct. And that's very, very stark inequality in any country. But Ruto didn't go that far. He picked the three families that thought were dynasties, the Kenyatta family, the Odinga family, and of course the Moi family, and targeted them. And I can tell you that that narrative, got the imagination of the Kenyan poor. In a lot of ways, I always tell people that my maid, the woman who works for me part-time, she always debates me on this dynasty hustler narrative. The promises that Mama Bogas and the Boda Bodas and Mama Nitilie, all those are going to be, taken care of. Something that I'm sure Ruto won't be able to do, given that in this country, we vote, but the cartels rule. And the people we have voted in become enslaved, by those cartels. But we wait to see, because we in our politics now, we have flagged the politics of social classes, the politics of issues around those inequalities and so forth. So that's another important factor, in the elections. The critical institutions, of course, the ones I need to talk about, and Ambassador Omar has flagged them. The political parties, I've already said that political parties are not institutions. They are parties that are actually owned, by these billionaires and these barons, and they basically mobilize on the basis of divisions. And these political parties, which are not institutions, are the ones that make the IBC and also the Supreme Court face a crisis of independence. Okay, because in this particular election, 4 commissioners clearly can be said to have been enslaved by Azimio, and 3 others by Kenya Kwanza. That's the perception. Okay, but they were divided, and everybody knows that they were divided. And my argument always has been, these institutions are made dependent because of the political parties and because of the barons who want to capture them so that they can win these particular elections. And this in this particular election, it's very interesting that the IBC is at the center of these petitions because of the divisions. And we all hope that the 7 commissioners, including the chair, are going to be asked to file affidavits, are going to be cross-examined on the issues of processes and issues of the numbers that are obviously at stake in this particular petition. There are various petitions. I'm sure the Supreme Court will be able to distill the issues so that they focus on specific issues. But there's been a request for scrutiny, a request for recount, and that might involve specialists like statisticians to crunch those numbers and see what the result will be. But IEBC is going to be very, very, very central. Why did the 4 commissioners take so long to say they were marginalized? Why come at the end of the elections? The forms that were certified at the polling stations, were they really interfered with? And that's why the affidavit by John Kidongo is very interesting in terms of what he's saying happened, the hacking and whatnot. So we wait to see these elections. I mean, that evidence, and from the past, we know public relations companies have been involved. It's not the first time we hear about artificial intelligence being used to subvert the vote. In 2017, we heard about the algorithm. There was the ICT guy who was murdered then. So that might come out. And 2017, we were told that the servers were in France and the French were asleep, so the servers couldn't be opened. So there is a lot of issues that might be clarified, at the Supreme Court. We wait and see whether the evidence that is adduced will help Kenyans understand how our electoral processes and institutions that are involved, how independent are they? Or is the 5-year election just about us picking a leader who will oppress us for the next 5 years, and not any progress in our democracy? And my experience in the court is this, that petitions are just continuation of politics in this country. Okay, those who lose want to tell their followers that their votes were stolen so that they can continue, and they run for the next election on the basis that they won and there was stealing of votes. And I think that this will continue in this country until the political parties are institutionalized, and they are the ones that actually monitor the IEBC and the judiciary to make sure that the institutions are independent and not try to, subvert, their intelligence. This year again, a returning officer of the IBC was abducted and killed. I got to look at the post-mortem itself, and it was horrific. If that's what happened, he was not only killed, but there were other cuts and whatnot, after he was, he was killed. So I don't know whether it's a ritual murder or what it was. And those are the kind of actions that make these institutions, afraid. Um, and of course, the Supreme Court, I remember in 2013, we slept soundly when Raila said, I accept the Supreme Court's decision, but I don't agree with it. Okay, if he had said, I don't accept and I don't agree with it, and then I guess the six of us would have been the first target after making that decision. We would probably have been dragged to Uhuru Park and hanged. But that is the climate under which the Supreme Court is going to operate. We say that even if we brought Solomon in Kenya to basically hear the petition, Solomon will be stoned out of Nairobi after making that decision. There is no Solomonic wisdom when it comes to presidential petitions or electoral petitions for for that matter. And those are the lessons I wanted to basically flag in the case of Kenya, that there are political opportunities for us to build on the promise of our democracy, but there are still these lingering bottlenecks, that have made it very difficult to claim that we have free, very viable, acceptable, and simple and credible elections. And I want to stop there, and we can, if there are issues of clarification, we can take them up. But I think those are the lessons that I wanted to draw from this particular situation, and it's not very different from the 2013, the 2017, and now 2022. You can also trace back to the Mulolongo elections of 1988. The story of rigging of our elections has never been written, and when it's written, it will be both shocking but hilarious. Thank you, Chair, for the opportunity. Thanks.
Asante sana Prof Jaji Mutunga kwa wasilisho lako. Kwa kweli huu ni mwanzo mzuri.